שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני, שירו לאדוני, שירו לאדוני. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.
Ma tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Ma tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Vani berochastecha, Avo veitecha, Eshtachavel echol kodshecha, Be'iratecha, Ma tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Ma tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom. We begin our service this morning on page 66 with an inspiration for prayer. Each of us enters the sanctuary with a different need. Some hearts are full of peace and gratitude, overflowing with love and joy. They are eager to confront the day to make the world a better place. They are recovering from illness or have escaped misfortune. We rejoice with them. Some hearts ache with sorrow, disappointments weigh heavily on them. Families have been broken, loved ones lie in a bed of pain. Death has taken a cherished loved one. May our presence and caring bring them comfort. Some hearts are embittered, ideals are betrayed and mocked, answers sought in vain. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we too are searching restore our hope and renew our faith. Whatever it is that brings you to our sanctuary or to join us on live stream, we're so glad you're here to celebrate Shabbat with us, all of us together. We begin our service on page 76, praising God first for the gift of our bodies, and then we join together on page 78, offering gratitude for the gifts of our souls. Join with me in the English. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Page 78.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata li tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama. נתת לי טהורה היא. אתה בראת, אתה יצרת, אתה נפחת בי, ואתה נשמרה, משמרה ברכיבי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת לי טהורה היא.
Elu Divarim She'ein Lahem Shior. On page 88, we share together these words from the Talmud, from Pirkei Avot, that remind us of our obligations to each other, whether those in our family, our community, or beyond. We make our world better and more holy when we take care of each other. Join with me. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We turn now to page 106 as we rise for Chatzi Kaddish and remain standing through the Shema.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. ביעלמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רמה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי הומיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דהמירן ויעלמה, ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Page 110. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, v'al me'orei or sha'asita yifa'arucha sela. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh hulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. On page 113, we read together at the bottom. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light-blinded we saw, that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us, as we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We continue on page 116, chanting Ve'ahavta together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'v'lechtecha b'derech, u'v'shokbecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam lehot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru vasitem et kol mitzvotai bitem kedoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 121, we read responsively. The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar bar hakodesh, nora tehilot o sefele. Shira chadasha shibchu geulim leshimcha svatayam yachad kulam hodu v'himlichu ve'ameru Adonai imloch leholam vaed. Tzur Yisrael, kuma bi'ezrat Yisrael, ufedechenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
We rise for the Amidah on page 124.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalalai, lai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai, lai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Ivoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot B'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo V'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ezra Tzara, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Kol Atara V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Oholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mechayeh Emunato, Lishaynei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umina Melach, Melech Memit U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol.
Nekadesh et shemcha ba'olam, ki shem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv al yad neviecha, v'kara ze el ze v'yamar, kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Meloch haaretz kivodo. Adir adirenu Adonai Adonenu madir shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kivod Adonai ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהייך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם. Shabbat Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. We turn to page 132, rejoicing in the gift of time that Shabbat provides, a new perspective on the week ahead. Even the time we spend together in this worship space separates the week from Shabbat, giving us a chance to renew and refresh, to look at the week to come with open hearts and refreshed minds. Sing with us, 132.
Yismechu b'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, B'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, B'korei Oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat, Kulam Yismeu, V'yitangu Metuvecha Shabbat, Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat, Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Uvashvi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdat yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat. L'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat, Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat.
On the top of 135, we read together. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. On the bottom of 137, we read responsively. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy.
May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah.
Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otacha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. On page 138, we share in Modim our prayer of thanksgiving together. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lechodot. Page 140.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai lai yai lai 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 sim 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 shalom sim 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 shalom sim 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 shalom tova uveracha.
Take a few moments now for your own personal prayers.
Im refi, refi, region libi lefanecha. Yehu liratzon, im refi, region libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali.
Seder Kriyat Torah, service for the reading of Torah, page 245. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. We rise in honor of the Torah.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai v'yein k'maasecha Malchutcha malchut kol olamim Umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai Oz le'amo yitain Adonai Yivarech et Amo V'Shalom.
On the bottom of page 247, we read responsively, "In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now.
Its
teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it." Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti Uniromama Shemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai Hagedula V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Hahod. Ki chol v'shamayim u'va'aretz. Ki chol v'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai הממלכה והמתנשא לכל ראש. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאי לי 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 לי. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאי לי לי יאי לי 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 לי. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
You may be seated. Good job. Okay, you did it without me even
No, I
saying.
told them to.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. And by that, I mean I was prepping for our text study. So we are in the Torah portion of Tzab. We are really getting into the thick of Leviticus. We are learning more about how Aaron and his sons, it is sons here, become the priestly class, what that means, how they are ordained as part of this, and that's what we are going to look at now, is what is this ordination ceremony, which looks very different than mine and Rabbi Nathan's ordination ceremony. Lot less blood involved in our ordination ceremony, as you will soon find out.
I don't know, I tripped, I scraped my knee.
I
No,
know,
I'm
right?
just-
There's
I'm
blood,
just kidding.
sweat, and tears in
kidding,
terms
that
of
didn't
seminary, but you know, the specific of the slaughtering of a ram and the blood, that was not part of our ordination ceremony at all. So we are going to look at these verses, Leviticus chapter 8, verses 22 to 27.
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to have Bernadette, shocker, read our translation of our text, please.
Okay, that's Adonai, right? This?
Yes.
Okay. He brought forward the second ram, the ram of ordination. Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the ram's head, and it was slaughtered. Moses took some of its blood and put it on the ridge of Aaron's right ear, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Moses brought forward the sons of Aaron and put some of the blood on the ridges of their right ears and the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toe of their right feet. And the rest of the blood Moses dashed against every side of the altar. He took the fat, the broad tail, all the fat about the entrails, the protuberance of the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right thigh. From the basket of unleavened bread that was before Adonai, he took 1 cake of unleavened bread, 1 cake of oil bread, and 1 wafer, and placed them on the fat parts and on the right thigh. He placed all of these on the palms of Aaron and on the palms of his sons, and elevated them as an elevation offering before Adonai.
Thank you. So I know it's like gory and very detailed, right? The joys of Leviticus. But, right, the idea that we see what this ceremony is and the importance and all the different pieces that play a role in this process. One of the questions is, what's the deal with the ear, thumb, toe? Right? Why is that part of it? Right? If you think about it, ear, thumb, if I have my hand down here, toe, head to toe. Right? Like a full body experience, but our commentators add a little bit more. So Samuel, will you read Rabbi Nellie Altenberger, please?
Ear marked, making sacred what one hears. Thumb, making sacred what you touch and how you touch. Big toe, the locus of balance and walking, making sacred your comings and goings.
I love this, right? That it is a full body experience for Aaron and his sons to become priests, that you have to have this full body experience to be part of this life, this role that they are about to play, right? And how important that is. Then Rabbi Abraham Ibn Ezra gives us another focus into that. Samantha.
The thumb and the big toe are the essence of all actions, and the right ones because the strength of the right side, and the ear ridge is a reminder to listen to what is commanded.
All right, another way of understanding the full body. I also added this because the right, if you are a lefty, sorry.
Too bad.
Yep, sorry. Not included. No, I'm just kidding. Right, but that the idea is the right is most people's dominant side, although I know that there are lefties in the room. And so if that's your dominant side, that's where the focus is, because you'd be doing most of the actions with that. Maybe not the listening as much, but with the actions from the right side of the body, right? So Philo also looks at this and says, okay, well, what does it have to do with how you use your body in that experience? Zach.
This is signified that the perfect person must be pure in every word and action and in all of life, for it is the hearing that judges a person's words, and the hand is the symbol of action, and the foot of the way in which a person walks in life, since each of these parts is an extremity of the body, and is likewise on the right side. This indicated that improvement in everything is to be arrived at by dexterity, being a portion of felicity, and being the true aim in life, which a person must necessarily labor to attain, and to which a person ought to refer all actions, aiming at them in life, as an archer aims at a target.
Thank you. So I love this in the beginning, right? That these people have the perfect person, must be pure. Oh, that's some standards right there, right? It's a little overwhelming. It feels like, wow, that's a lot to live up to for these literal human beings, right? And so that's a really hard place to put them in. But Philo goes later and says, look, this is about aiming. And what can you do? And how can you get to, or closest to, the idea of perfect and pure, right? You may never get there. And I like this also because we think of the word hate, which we hear a lot around the High Holy Days, and that it's not actually the understanding of sin, but it's missing the mark, right? Something we talk about a lot is missing the mark. They could miss the mark, that's okay. But their focus as priests was to make sure that their whole body aligned with their actions, their listening, to attain, to get as close to as possible that pure and perfect place. So I love that idea. So as the priests, they are this role of leaders. So is this idea of the blood, the ceremony, the ordination in and of itself only about leadership, or is there more to it? So, Joel, if you will read Rabbi Becca Walker, a classmate of mine.
Okay.
This action comes up one other time later in Leviticus for the ritual to purify Metzora, the person who had scaly skin disease, sometimes referred to as leprosy. The Metzora would be sent out of camp and quarantined because of their illness. Once they had healed, there is an elaborate ritual of purification that the priest performs for the Metzora. And part of this ritual includes putting blood on the right ear, right thumb, and right big toe.
This ritual connection between the Metzora and the priests comes to teach us the importance and value of empathy. On the occasion of their ordination into priesthood, Aaron and his sons now have a special role among the Israelites and with God. With all the excitement and responsibility of this high position, it could be easy to forget what it's like to be someone on the margins. That experience of suffering is what this ritual comes to remind them about. The ram's blood on their right side connects them to the blood they put on the right side of the Metzora. It is saying, remember the people on the outside, and not just remember, but also let the source of actions in the body exemplify that empathy. In order for Aaron to be a great leader, he can't forget the suffering of those outside the camp.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
You're up, Dr. Benedict.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think empathy is one of the best personality traits that someone can have. So I love this. Okay. This lesson about empathy is important for all of us, whether or not we are in a formal position of leadership. Even when we are feeling fully empowered and included, we need to remember what it would feel like to be on the margins. We can use our own experiences of sadness and suffering to help us empathize with those in our community who are currently experiencing hardships. Our communities and our leaders will be stronger when we remember and connect to the vulnerable among us. As we empathize, let us also translate that into action. What is one thing we can do in the coming weeks to help bring someone in? By doing this, we will help to bring more holiness and compassion into our lives and into the world.
Thank you, right? So I agree. I think empathy, thank all three of you for your role in reading that. But I think that empathy is a huge trait, and that we have this leadership role, which is so huge for Aaron and his sons. This priesthood, what they do is huge. It's a huge role. But here it is, we got to make sure that they're not forgetting those who are on the outskirts, literal outskirts, right? This Metzora. But the next piece of that empathy is the action, right? That piece that you read at the end, I think, is so powerful. What do we then do with it? I can feel all the feelings, but if I don't take that next step, those people are not going to know, right? Aaron takes that next step. He does this whole ceremony with the blood on the right side of the body to say, hey, this was what put me in this position. I'm here to help you. I'm with you. We are now connected through this ritual. And how important that is. And that action takes it a step further. So while our Jewish tradition teaches us to take these actions to help other people at all times, sometimes we forget. Sometimes we're in our own head. We're thinking about what's going on in our lives. We can't see the people outside the walls that we are in, right? And so I am encouraging you this Shabbat to take that extra step, to have that idea of empathy, right? That trait of empathy, but take it that next step and say, what is the action that I can do? And Lucian is excited about that, and I hope all of you are too. Shabbat Shalom. So I am going to read the first 3 verses of this text.
Once Rabbi Yergin gives me the go-ahead, we'll share in a communal blessing for the Torah. Cool. Join with me. It's on page 255 if you need the words. Give everyone a second. Baruch hu et Adonai hambarach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam vahed.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. ויקרב את האייל, השני האייל, המילואים, וישמחו אהרון ובניו את ידיהם על ראש האייל, וישחט, ויקח משה מדמו, ויתן על תנוך אוזן אהרון הימנית, ועל בוהן ידו הימנית, ועל בוהן רגלו הימנית. ויקרב את בני אהרון, ויתן משה מן הדם על תנוך אוזנם הימנית, ועל בוהן ידם הימנית, ועל בוהן רגלם הימנית, ויזרוק משה את הדם על המזבח סביב.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
In the presence of Torah, we offer prayers of healing for those who face the future not fully whole. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka le'Avra Rachel. May the one who blessed our ancestors before us bring strength to those who struggle against sickness and wholeness to all those who long to be healed. If there's someone in your life, someone who you hold in your heart, who is on your mind in need of healing, I invite you to think about them now. Close your eyes if you wish, and then whisper their names out loud. We're strengthened by each other's presence, knowing there are others praying for healing for those we love as we pray for them as well. We link the names of those in our own hearts with those listed in our order of service as we all join together singing our prayer for healing. Mishaberach, page 253.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha imotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn to page 252 as we rise together in honor of the Torah, making ready to return it to the ark.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai 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 lai, yalai lai 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 lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai.
Page 256.
Chayemi Lemachaziki Ma Vetocheha Meushar Derachea Darchei Noam V'chol Netivotea Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elechav Nashuva Chadesh Amenu Kikedem.
We continue with Aleinu, page 283.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. As we turn to page 288 for our memorial meditation, we note with sadness the deaths of Dr. William C. Davis, father of Cheryl Davis, Craig Gullidge, husband of Tracy Gullidge, father of Jess, Chris, and Eric, and brother of Karen Cruz, and Freda Spidell, aunt of Warren and Iris Lieberman. Memorial services will be held in Boca Raton, Florida. Page 288, a memorial meditation by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community and extended community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yard sites, we remember them. Jeanette Abramson, Nanette Ackerman, Philip Adelman, Dennis Alter, Lissa Lapel, Betty Blum August, Jerry Basile, Howard Baskin, Regina Belasco, Richard Beldner, Perla Beret, Sally F. Burler, Betty Burns, Barbara Boriarski, Fanny Carr, Harold Cohen, Sarah Cohen, Philip Cooper, Roland Kroom, Susan DePere, Noble Evans, Frank Falkstein, Adele Fine, Marion Fish, Yetta Michelson Fergotston, Rose Friedberg, Teresa Maria Garza, Sammy Jo Gilraith, Herbert Given, Irving Green, Shirley Halpern, Frank Hardy, Milton Bernard Hendler, Gerald Hurst, Barbara Hockman, Helen Howard, Joseph Janko, Charlotte Kish, Benjamin A. Kowalski, Marcia Kravitz, Dr. Frank Lane, Joseph Molinas, Pamela Meyer, Rose Miller, Pauline F. Newmark, Mildred Planto, Violet Power, Irving Ratner, Leah Ricklin, Jacob Rosenberg, Max Rosenman, Sophie Salzman, Sandy Sodolowski, Yetta Shribman, Esther K. Schur, Aaron Shadanoff, Abe Stern, Isidore Strauss, Henry E. Strickland Sr., Pearl Unger, Sally Vogel, Clarice Wallach, Margie Waymeyer, Naomi Jurgen, and Florence Zimmerman. To these names, we add those who've been buried in the past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. We remember Carol Hendon, Jeannie Shechet, Diana Pearl Cole, Bob Marbut, Henry Hank Bronstein, Marilyn Friedman, and Marvin Barenblatt. We also think of two who've been buried this past week, whose families are in a mourning period of Shiva. Remember Cookie Belinsky, wife of Louis Belinsky, mother of Eileen and Steve Kramer, Nancy and Deborah Williams Belinsky, and Rachel Belinsky, sister of Dovey Schneider, grandmother to Matt Kramer, Ian and Jesse Kramer, Eli Williams, and Celeste Williams. We also remember Lawrence Larry Allen Beck, brother of Barbara and Jeffrey Moss, uncle of Philip and Julia Moss, and many friends and extended family. With all of these names and those which are in our hearts each and every day, we stand together as one community on page 294 as we join together in Kaddish Yatom. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'mei almaya, Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. Our closing song is Ein Keloheinu, which can be found on page 324. Wanted to thank Jack for being our soloist this morning and joining with us.
And Samuel Gaskin for being our guest musician. Accompanist. Well, he's so much more than an accompanist, so yes.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Mahalkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.